Hello everyone, how's it all going? Now, I want to do a video talking about how you won't be able to tell whether it's real or not. I get asked this so many times in coaching calls. They say, Sam, how do I know if it's an OCD thought? How do I know if this is OCD or if this is a genuine concern? The thing with that, and OCD knows exactly that, it knows what you cannot tell the difference between whether it's real or not. That's exactly what it does. Okay, that's exactly how it latches in. It nestles just out of reach because it leaves you in that grey, vague area, that uncertain area where you can't get certainty on that. You cannot get 100% clarity on that. And that's exactly why it latches to it. If you knew something was 100% false, OCD would not latch. If you were certain on something, OCD would not latch to it. So it's that exact trying to work out whether it's real or not that keeps us stuck, okay? And that's exactly why we have to go towards the worst case scenario and learning to accept, although strongly disagree, really not like, not want the worst case scenario, okay? That's a very important point, because otherwise you may spend your whole life trying to work out whether it's real or not. That is what sometimes happens. Because, for example, with me, with real event false memory OCD, is it real? Is it false? Did it happen? Has OCD twisted this? Has OCD manipulated that? Has it convinced me of this? I spent years, wasted energy trying to work that out. What a complete waste of time that was. I had to make peace that even if the worst case was true, even if my worst fear was true, how I could learn to accept that while strongly not like that. Okay, that's very, very important. And this is why we talk about acceptance as an agreement. Just because you're accepting it doesn't mean you're liking it, doesn't mean you're wanting it, doesn't mean you agree with it, doesn't mean you support it, doesn't mean you justify it. Okay, acceptance isn't agreement. Humans are incredibly good at adapting to all kinds of situations, adjusting to all kinds of circumstances and very harsh conditions. You've only got to look at moments in the past. Let's say someone was wrongly convicted in prison. They could find that incredibly unfair, incredibly unjustified, obviously, but they've adapted to that. They've had to accept the situation that they're in. Same with someone in a concentration camp. Same with someone who's been diagnosed with late stage 4 cancer. Screaming and shouting and sort of really sort of downing the situation isn't going to help. You've always got to look to overcome. Yes, they are horrendous situations to be in, of course, but humans have had to accept and adapt to those situations no matter how much they didn't like it. Okay, and that's all. Those are quite extreme examples, but you can use that kind of thinking in all parts of life. So anything that doesn't go your way, because sorry to break this news to you, but things in life do not go your way. The universe owes you nothing. Life owes you nothing. You are randomly on this planet, floating through outer space at some ridiculous speed, and that does not mean life should treat you fairly. Doesn't mean that person over there should treat you fairly. Doesn't mean that you should always hit your goals or be perfectionism. That's another one, perfectionism. I speak about that a lot in calls. Okay, I say task perfection, yes. Self-perfection, no. Because task perfection is great. You can strive and you can desire to perform a task to the best of your ability, to be very efficient, to be very competent, great, okay? But self-perfection is the path to emotional turmoil, for emotional spiral, because you are then trying to imply that you're this superhuman, godlike figure that is always perfect in all areas of life, which is complete and utter crap, because we are human, we are fallible, we are imperfect. Just because you're very good at one aspect, let's say you're a very good footballer, you could say, right, that person is very good at football, but he might be absolutely rubbish at reading books or accounting, or completely rubbish at another sport, okay? So they can try and perfect the task or the art of playing football, even though that is incredibly difficult as well to perfect that, but they can strive for that, they can aim for that, they can desire for that. But as soon as they then try and perfect themselves, that is when things aren't going to work, because there are no perfect human out there. There is no perfect human out there. If there is, I would like to meet them, because when you imply a perfect human that does no wrong, that can never do no wrong, that can never do bad, that can never act immorally, you are implying that this person, this godlike figure, is perfect at everything, which obviously cannot be proven. Because let's look at rating acts, right? What I might say is a good act, someone in the middle of Africa in an African tribe would say completely different. Someone in the US might say completely different. Someone in the Amazon rainforest might say completely different. And right there, you'd get, if you ask those 4 people what a good thing is, or what a perfect way is, or what a really good sort of proper act is, you would get 4 different answers straight away. And that shows right there how rating acts can be very sort of disputed as well, because it's all down to perspectives and beliefs and how you view acts. All right, these are all very important things that I have to think about, because I was so caught up on the good and bad concept, hence why OCD really latched to the moral related themes, the guilt related, the taboo related, the sort of the strange natured related themes, because it was like, if you've done that, oh my god, you could never accept that. Oh my god, your life is over. Your life is written off. What's the point? All a waste of time. There was no point of even getting up in the morning, that kind of thing, right? Because I'd written myself off from day dot. Because when I held those kind of beliefs around good and bad people, and that if I had done something wrong, life isn't worth living, then OCD would be scanning, absolutely scanning, searching, monitoring for something in the past to find that evidence of why my life is written off, why I could never enjoy life again, why I was no good, why I was unworthy, why I was undeserving. Okay, that's exactly what it does, and this is why it takes orders from beliefs. That is so important to remember, because people say, when I get a lot with people who come into a one-to-one call for the first time, and they say, Sam, I know that thoughts are thoughts, I know exposures are good, I know that they're very helpful, of course, but they go, what's all this about beliefs? I haven't heard about this beliefs kind of thing, this REBT. And I say, look, exposures, they're great, they get you a very long way. Life structure, cutting compulsions, stopping avoidance, thoughts are thoughts, yes, all very important parts. However, quite often the missing part, the missing component is acceptance, that deeper level of unconditional acceptance, because OCD takes orders from beliefs. If you are saying that I could not accept myself if I did that, if I had this thought, if this thing happened to me, then of course OCD is going to run absolutely riot, because it is looking for that thing you cannot accept. That's exactly what it's looking for. If you look at all the things that OCD latches to for you, you'll notice that it's, yes, I feel like my life's done. I feel like life wouldn't be worth living. I feel like it'd all be a waste of time. I feel like I'd be bad, evil, socially rejected, blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly why OCD's targeting it. All right, these are very important points. They're wake-up calls, because I'm going to say my favourite quote again to you. People get an insight into what's bothering them, but don't do a damn thing to change, by Albert Ellis. Very amazing quote, changed my life, because I had the huge insight. We all have insight into what's bothering us. The core fears are staring us in the face. The irrational beliefs are slapping us in the face, but we don't do a damn thing to change. And that's the most frustrating thing, because it's clear as day what's holding people back. It's plain as anything to see where holding that very irrational belief, having those core fears and not breaking them down, not adopting unconditional acceptance. It's clear to see why you're stuck, why you're not getting better, because you're very reluctant to drop those irrational beliefs. You're very reluctant to change behaviours and beliefs. Okay, so you've got to be really, really honest. Look at ourselves in the mirror and go, right, what's holding me back? I didn't want to do that. Nick didn't want to do that. I'm sure everyone on the team didn't want to do that, because that involves discomfort. That involves challenging times and very bumpy rides where one moment I'll be very happy, next minute I'll be crying my eyes out. And that literally happened in a matter of days. My good days were often followed by my bad days, and vice versa, where my bad days were often followed by my good days. I remember at times where I'd have a really bad day, like couldn't stop crying, confessing all the time, venting, seeking reassurance, doing compulsions all day long, avoidance, housebound. And the next day it'd feel like, fuck, I'd almost cried it all out. That's how it felt. And I'd be like, OCD's gone, I ain't got OCD. That's honestly how it felt. And then boom, that was usually because I had some kind of short-term relief from confession usually, and then boom, it would latch to something else. Fuck, down the spiral I'd go, down the confession I'd go, and there it is, further evidence that confession, reassurance, venting, complaining, whining, avoiding, googling, they're only short-term relief. They don't provide any long-term relief at all. So I'm going to keep this video 10 minutes. Very short and snappy, but very important points to remember.